Hello and welcome guys. Today we are going to learn what is Kubernetes metric server. I'm using virtual box and there are three systems I configured. The first one is running as master node, another two is working as worker. And you can see 2 GB of memory I have allocated in each node and 2 CPU also I have allocated for each of the node. Right, so let's go ahead to the terminal and let's discuss why we need metric servers. Okay, so in my case I'm using 3 nodes and you're probably going to use more than 3. I'm not sure how many. It depends on your environment or requirement, right? So in that node, or for if I take an example for my cluster, it has running 3 nodes, and in these 3 nodes I'm probably going to run hundreds of pods, right? So to capture the information, the capacity utilization for my node and the pods running on it, we need something, some tool to figure out, or to some tool to capture the metrics of it, right? So that is why Kubernetes allow to configure you a metric server through which you can capture your node and pod capacity. Okay, so that was the first reason we use metric server, and second, you can use or you can analyze your metrics from web interface. And third use cases, which is very important, which is nothing but HPA and VPA, horizontal pod autoscaler and the vertical pod autoscaler. I'm going to discuss this third point which I have mentioned here in my coming videos. So for now, let's go ahead and configure metric server. Okay, so the first thing what you need, just go to Google and search Kubernetes metric servers. You would see the first link from GitHub. Click on that, scroll it down. Here you would find some information about metric server, why we use metric server, and like I discussed, horizontal pod autoscaler, vertical pod autoscaler, and there are a few other stuff like the requirement, the minimal requirement, use cases. This is the requirement, right? And if I scroll it down, there is one component.yaml file. Let's copy this. I'm going to use it, and this is the latest version, by the way, released I think few days back. Okay, so let's go ahead to my partition here and deploy this in namespace Kubernetes infra. So I'm creating a new namespace which is called Kubernetes infra, and let's switch to that namespace. kubectl config. If you'd like to deploy it in the default, it would by default going to deploy it under kube minus system. If you would like, you can go ahead, but I basically like to do it in a separate namespace, so that is why I'm doing this one. So currently I'm on Kubernetes infra namespace, and let's download this file first. Okay, instead of just applying it, I'm doing in wget. Okay, so I think I had one file already, so let's go ahead and edit this file, vim, and wherever I find kube system, which is default namespace, I'm going to replace with Kubernetes infra, right? So I'm just replacing that namespace, so it is going to now deploy it under this namespace. Let's save this file, and now let's do kubectl create -f and create this metric server. So when I run this command, you can see there are a bunch of stuff, and let's also do an watch here. For all my pods and running under all namespaces. So here it is. It just already started from 22 seconds. It is running under Kubernetes infra project. So currently it is running, and it deployed in node 1. Okay, so there are a few cluster role, API service account, and some cluster role binding has been created. Okay, so next thing what we have to do in order to test it whether it is working fine or not, you can run kubectl top node or top pod to check the utilization of node or pods, right? So let's do node first. So I'm getting some error, so looks like it is not working as it is supposed to. So let's go ahead and check the logs. kubectl logs -f metric server, and here you can see some information, right? You would also see the similar information. The name, it is not able to resolve it, right? So how to fix it? We need to make some change on the deployment file. So let's do kubectl get deployment and do an edit on it. Let's do an edit metric server, deployment metric server, and go to the bottom and scroll it up, and in the container spec section we need to add couple of lines. If I go back to this site and scroll it down a little, you can see the configuration section. Under configuration section it says kubelet preferred address type we need to specify, and also we need to specify kubelet insecure TLS. So let's copy those. I have already copied it in my notepad, and let me paste them in here. Okay, so these are the two new lines we need to add in the deployment file, and once it is done, let's save it. Deployment file is edited, and you can see one new pod deployed and the older one is getting terminated. Done. So let's go ahead and now check the logs. Okay, the pod is name is changed. Now this is the pod name. Okay, so this is how the logs would going to pop up when you make the change, and seems like this time it is going to work. So if I just run kubectl top node again, it is not giving me the output yet. We have to wait for at least a minute or so. I think probably like 2 to 3 minutes to get this working. So let's just put a watch on it. Okay, and let's see how much time it takes to provide this information. Okay, so here we go. You can see this is how your kubectl top node output going to look like. The first node utilization, CPU, memory, and the percentage, and the other node information as well, right? So similarly, if you wanted to check for pod, you'd be able to do it. Okay, so let's do all namespaces. So this is how you'd be able to see the utilization for your all pod, the capacity utilization for CPU and also memory. Okay, so this is pretty simple. If you run into any issue, let me know. Okay, so there is one more thing I would like to show you. If you configure the dashboard, and let me go to dashboard, let's quickly get the details for dashboard. Also get SA -n Kubernetes dashboard, and also I want to describe the essay. Describe essay dashboard admin, and now I'm going to describe the secret. Secret name is dashboard admin, and this is secret. Okay, so let's go ahead and see in which node my dashboard is running. This node. Let's go ahead and do an https 192.26 and login. Okay, sorry, I did not copy the token yet. Let me copy the token. Okay, so now in overview, if I select all namespace, in overview you see this section: workload, memory section, and CPU section. This is basically coming from metrics server. If you do not configure metrics server, you would not be able to see this portion in the dashboard. Okay, so this is also one advantage of configuring metrics servers. And also, if I scroll it down here, you would see the CPU uses and memory uses, right? So those also you wouldn't be able to see it if you do not have the metrics server configured. Excellent. So this is how you will have to configure your metrics server. Feel free to write your doubts in the comment section if you have any. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching my video. Have a good day.